Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here doing my comic reviews for the week of October 19th, 2011. Alright, first off, I guess I should mention a few things that's been going around. One of the things that was announced at New York Comic Con this year was that Phoenix is apparently returning to the Marvel Universe. I told my sister and I told a friend of mine, and first, they were like pretty excited because most people think it's the return of Jean Grey. I'm not so sure if it is the return of Jean Grey. I mean, yeah, I know she's the Phoenix. She's the most well-known person in the Marvel Universe to use the Phoenix name, but the Phoenix Force, which is the entity itself, has bonded to several individuals in the past, and also from the way X-Men's Second Coming ended. I'm kind of getting the feeling that Phoenix might be returning to Earth, and it might be Hope Summers. That's just a theory I have. I mean, if Phoenix does come back, it might mean the return of Jean Grey, which could be good. But it could also mean maybe Phoenix is going to bond with someone else. And really, that's all I have to say from the news. Okay, now for the actual comics. Let's start off with Kaboom! Darkwing Duck number 17. This is the cover B because apparently they were sold out of cover A. Anyways, what happens in Darkwing number 17 is that basically the Ducks split up into two groups. Darkwing, Scrooge McDuck, and Scrooge's science advisor Gyro Gearloose go and infiltrate Quackerworks, while Launchpad and the kids go and track down the source of the magic ink that's making villains more powerful and turning the city of St. Canard evil. At Quackerworks, though, Scrooge, Darkwing, and Gyro manage to find Fenton with the Gizmo Duck suit. However, though, they also run into the Fearsome Four, which is basically Bushroot, Quackerjack, Liquidator, and Megavolt, who now have extra superpowers because of the ink, and also some of the ink gets on Gizmo Duck, and that makes Gizmo Duck evil. But fortunately, Scrooge thought of that, and he pretty much had Fenton's mother dropped in, and Fenton's mom got Fenton to snap out of it, and now Gizmo Duck's back. That's the positive thing. The bad news is, while Launchpad and the kids did find the source find where the ink is and where it's being pumped into St. Canard, some of it apparently spilled on Honker and Huey, Dewey, and Louie. So now they've pretty much turned into giant monsters, and they're going to destroy the city. Another thing I want to point out in this particular issue is that, Launchpad is starting to think that earlier from the last issue and from this issue, Scrooge and Darkwing are often kind of fighting, disagreeing with each other and kind of getting in each other's face. And that kind of concerns Launchpad because he kind of brings it up while he's searching with the kids. He thinks to himself that, oh man, if after this my two best friends don't want to see each other again, I'm probably going to have to make a choice to go with one of them or stay here. Though the cover I had for last issue, though, I don't have I meant DuckTales for the first part and DuckTales number 5, don't have that with me. I think if they had used that cover for this issue, it would have been better, because that's the only time so far that Launchpad brings up the idea that he might have to choose between Duckburg or St. Canard. But yeah, I like this. It's a very good crossover between Darkwing Duck and DuckTales. I mean, Gizmo Duck and also Gizmo Duck is back. Not Goslin, the Gizmo Duck suit, but the original Gizmo Duck is back, so that's good. And now things are starting to move along there. Okay, time for DC. Yes, I have no Marvels this week. Shocker. Young Justice number 9. Alright. Fortunately, again, this isn't the real DC universe. This is the Young Justice cartoon. And fortunately, there are dates in these things, so I know exactly when they take place. This issue takes place right after Artemis first joined the team and they took on the League of Assassins, and this is also right before the episode with Dr. Fate. Alright, Captain Atom, this guy, pretty much is their teacher for the day, and he's teaching them all about espionage missions, and he sends them on a little, and he says that he's just gotten a tip that helps pertain to an old Vietnam War cold case that he wants the team to solve. And eventually the team's search leads them to some sort of samurai whose sword can apparently cut Superboy. In the end, Superboy's bleeding, and he's a little shocked by that. Okay, that's pretty much the summary of what happened in Young Justice. What are my comments about this? Well, first of all, the samurai sword actually cutting through Superboy. It might be either Superboy's powers are still developing, or the sword is magic and Superboy's learning about his vulnerability to magic. Because that's the other thing that can hurt Superman is magic. Also, another thing that I kind of figured out with the reason Captain Atom really reopened the cold case is because the guy who was found guilty and then murdered in prison was named Nathaniel Atom, which in the main DC universe is Captain Atom's secret identity. And while this isn't exactly the main DC universe, I think that's something that's going to be probably brought up in next issue when this story concludes. Because, I mean, really, the stories in this comic are like only 2 issues long, which is, I think, is very convenient, and it's also, a little fun. Gives you a nice little read in between the new episodes and stuff. Okay. Along, Justice League number 2. Finally, the ball is rolling in this issue. Now, Green Lantern and Batman do meet with Superman, but Superman sees them as kind of a threat, and he's basically going to town on them. I mean, Batman runs out of gadgets. And Green Lantern's constructs don't really work on Superman, because here, as you can see on the cover, Green Lantern's kind of trying to get him in a bunch of chains, but Superman breaks free. And also though, apparently, so when Superman's pretty much getting the upper hand on Batman and Green Lantern, Hal Jordan makes a call to Barry Allen in Central City, because apparently Barry and Hal know each other's secret identities and they've teamed up before. Which is a little strange, because I figured that, I think when they advertised Justice League, which is saying that this would be the first time the heroes meet, I think they meant meet as a group, as in all 7 of them are going to work together for the first time, and I guess in the case of Barry and Hal, they already worked together. But say that for the commentary. Back to the little summary. Flash shows up, and he's pretty much running faster than Superman, messing with him, saying that you can't touch me, but Superman just pretty much flicks his fingers, and he's able to hit Flash, which shocks him. But Batman is able to break up the fight, and he explains the situation to Superman that they found this little box left by the aliens that they fought in Justice League number 1. And while Batman is explaining this, the military show up, because, well, this is back when costume heroes were considered vigilantes, and of course there's 4 of them in Metropolis right now, so the military's going to show up. And fortunately our heroes get away, and Superman leads them to an abandoned printing press where they could sort of talk about what's going on and look at the box. And of course while they're talking about the box, it starts pinging. It starts making this really loud ping noise, like a timer. And back at Star Labs, apparently at Star Labs in Detroit, they also have the same found another one of those little boxes that the heroes have. And also in the Star Labs thing, Victor Stone shows up to tell his dad about his future playing college football, but his father dismisses it, saying it's a waste of time, and you can clearly see that there's really a lot of tension between the two. And right when Victor shows up, is talking to his dad, though, their box goes off at the same time as the hero's box. And right when we get to the final ping, both boxes open up boom tubes, which basically which are basically a transportation teleportation system used by Apocalypse and New Genesis. And basically, the boom tubes open up, and armies of these aliens come out saying, for Darkseid. And I'm just assuming here, but I'm assuming these aliens are parademons, which are basically Darkseid's foot soldiers. And so now armies of parademons are coming out, and apparently at Star Labs, Victor was hit by some of the energy from the boom tube, and that's damaging his body, which I'm guessing next issue is going to lead to his father basically making him into Cyborg. Alright, well, Justice League number 2, like I said, this issue is where things finally start picking up, okay? We've got more than just 2 heroes now, we've got 4, and now they're all working together, trying to figure out what's going on. And each one is and it's interesting because now, since this is sort of like their first meeting each other, they're kind of like wondering how each one operates, because when Superman leads them away from leads the heroes away from the government, military coming to check him out, he leads them to an abandoned printing press, and Batman's a little surprised because he asks him, doesn't he have like a secret base of operations? And Batman thinks that Superman doesn't have a secret identity because out of the four of them, he's the only one who's not wearing a mask. And back to Barry and Hal. Apparently they met when Gorilla Grodd tried to attack Central City. I don't know, it's only briefly mentioned, and they know each other's secret identities. And when they're talking about taking a look at the box, Flash mentions like scanning for fingerprints and stuff, and Batman says that you sound like a cop, and Barry says, yeah, I am, I work at Crime Lab. And then Hal's like, Barry, you just gave away your secret identity! And then Barry just looks at Hal saying, yeah, and you just called me Barry, genius. Really, really funny there. And again, when Flash meets Batman, he asks, what can you do? And first issue, though, that's what Green Lantern and Superman both asked Batman, what can you do? I'm getting the feeling that with every new hero that meets Batman, they're going to ask him, what can you do? What can you do? And might be some, and I don't know, I'm just saying, I don't know if that's going to be important or anything, but it might be something that's going to be recurring so far in the first Justice League arc. I like this issue better than the first issue because we've got more heroes now, and and for the Cyborg story, I think it's moving along just fine. Oh, damn. Camera. Sorry. And, alright, so, Justice League number 2, better than, where was I? Yeah, it's better than the first issue. We've got more heroes now, and apparently next issue, the League's gonna meet Wonder Woman. Oh yeah, and also the Army of Parademons coming out, so that's gonna be interesting. Interesting to see Darkseid's main role in all this. And that's all I'd say about Justice League number 2. Now then, last comic. Batman number 2! Yep, sorry, let me fix the camera. Batman number 2. Okay, once again, Batman number 2. Okay. It opens up with Batman taking down some criminals. Batman on a Bat-cycle, and he takes out some criminals in a helicopter. And after he does that, Alfred calls him and tells him that Commissioner Gordon's waiting for him at the morgue. And Batman unveils another new gadget he installed at the Gotham City morgue, which is this sort of this photogrammetric scanner and camera that he can use to communicate with Jim Gordon, while Commissioner Gordon's in the Gotham City morgue looking at the victim they had last issue, while Batman's in the Batcave using the Bat computers to inspect the body himself, which is pretty impressive. And after Batman gets through talking to Commissioner Gordon, he asks Dick how Dick's DNA could have gotten on this guy, and Dick mentions that apparently the guy tried to warn him a few nights ago, but the guy tried to warn Dick Grayson at some sort of groundbreaking in West Gotham, and security had to pull the guy off Dick, and he scratched Dick's arm. So that's how Dick Grayson's DNA got on the victim. So yeah, that's kind of ends the whole Dick Grayson DNA thing. I mean, I thought it would be a bigger deal, but apparently not. Though I have been wrong in the past. Alright, back to the story. Next day, Bruce Wayne meets with mayoral candidate Lincoln March, and Bruce gets attacked by some assassin from this organization called the Court of Owls, and Bruce is able to hold his own, and he beats the guy by going out the window with him. And they're on on a very high tower, and Bruce gets him out the window. Bruce is able to get to a safe landing, but the assassin lands on a car, and the ambulance takes him away. And sort of an afterword to the comic, it's revealed that while in the ambulance, the assassin regains consciousness, and he's pretty much in almost perfect health. He's able to take down all the paramedics and then steal the ambulance to drive away. Okay, Batman number 2. I do like Scott Snyder's writing. I really like all these new gadgets Batman's using now. I mean, last issue he had a contact lens that could still let him connect to the Batcave computer while in the field, and now he set up some sort of scanner so that he can some sort of scanner in the Gotham City morgue so that he can still talk to Jim Gordon while still doing work in the Batcave, which that's still amazing. And also the way Bruce is in this, he's definitely more action than, well, I mean, the scenes are kind of distinguished. Like when he's with Jim Gordon, you can see Batman the detective, but when he's out in the field and as Bruce Wayne when he was dealing with that assassin, you can see Batman the fighter. That was pretty good. And also how apparently, and some really great monologue by Batman in this issue too. I mean, it's very impressive. I mean, I'm really glad I'm picking up Batman out of the New 52. Okay, that's all my comics. I should be making a few more videos this week. Two of them don't really pertain to comic books, so just give me a heads up about that. And yeah, that's pretty much all my reviews for this week. Batman number 2. Scott Snyder still doing an impressive job. Really love his work on this. Justice League number 2. Way better than the first issue. Heroes are finally teaming up to get ready for the fight against Darkseid. Young Justice number 9. Great short stories that you can read about in between new episodes coming out of the TV series. And Darkwing Duck number 17. Only 2 more. Finally, the thing about Launchpad having to choose between Scrooge McDuck and Darkwing is brought up only briefly, and Gizmo Duck is back. And there's only 2 parts left to the Darkwing DuckTales crossover, and the next part takes place in the final issue of DuckTales, and the last part will take place in the final issue of Darkwing. So after that, both series will be done. Alright, that's everything. Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later.